After expending my bombs at Prey Torteng on the first day, I returned to Phan Rang, where I could rearm and refuel. I skipped a day or two, not going to Prey Torteng, but my friends flew many missions and said there was a big battle going on there. On a day that I didn't go to Prey Torteng, one of my friends was shot down over the town. He got a little distance from the town, bailed out, was picked up by the Cambodian army, taken to Phnom Penh, and was back with us okay in about a week with lots of stories. Soon I was on my way back to Prey Torteng, this time with a load of 500-pound bombs. We contacted the forward air controller, the FAC, and he told us the story. The North Vietnamese army had captured the entire town, and the Cambodian forces had retreated to a school to the south of town. We'd go help them later, but first he wanted to get rid of an anti-aircraft gun that was in the middle of the town. There was a large, flat-roofed building in the middle of town that looked like a 3-story department store. Somehow the North Vietnamese had got an anti-aircraft gun on the top of the building, on the roof, and were shooting at us. I armed 2 of my 500-pound bombs and rolled in for a dive bombing attack. Attacking an anti-aircraft gun is always dangerous, and as I went in, I could see the muzzle flashes as they shot at me. I pickled off my bombs, pulled off, and looked back, and I had missed. My 2 bombs fell into the parking lot with a tremendous explosion, but the gun was not hurt. My wingman went in next. He pressed his attack closer and sent his 2 bombs crashing through the roof of the building. His bombs had a slightly delayed action fuse and blew out the lower floors of the building. The roof sagged but remained more or less intact. The gun stopped shooting. We turned our attention to the south of the town, where a Cambodian lieutenant was holed up with 200 men, of which only 40 were not wounded. It looked like a normal schoolhouse with a soccer field and a hedge around it. The North Vietnamese were in the hedge preparing to attack the schoolhouse. We dropped our remaining bombs on the hedge and then came back with our 20mm cannon and strafed the hedge until we had no ammunition left. As we turned off back toward home and left the Cambodian lieutenant and his men to their fate, I worried about them and thought that we would never hear about them again. 2 weeks later, I read in the Far East edition of Time magazine that a French reporter had gone in with Vietnamese rangers and relieved the town. They went in by helicopter, landed just south of the schoolhouse, moved in, rescued the lieutenants, and then drove on into the city. The North Vietnamese ran in front of them. They had had enough. The reporter estimated there were about 1,500 North Vietnamese dead in the town. On the roof of a building in the center of town, he found a North Vietnamese anti-aircraft gun. The crew was dead. They had been chained to the gun so they couldn't run. This story is found on page 56 of my book, The Spirit of Attack.